with that down, let's move on to our fifth and final main topic today. And our fifth and final main topic today gets submitted to us by Eddie Harrie, who writes, "Man, did you see that Quentin Tarantino just said he's not going to be directing that Star Trek movie that he was working on? Why? He's never done sci-fi before and would have been awesome to bring his eye to a Star Trek film. Why is he afraid to get outside of his comfort zone?" All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, for those of you who did not hear, of course, we've been talking about this for a number of months. A little while ago, the internet basically broke when J.J. Abrams and Quentin Tarantino had met because Quentin Tarantino pitched this idea for a Star Trek movie. J.J. said, "That sounds amazing. Let's take it to Paramount." They went to Paramount. Paramount said, "We like the idea." They hired some screenwriters to start writing a script. There was a lot of speculation that it was going to be Quentin Tarantino's movie, that he was probably going to direct it, and all this kind of stuff that went on. Should be important to note here that Tarantino himself never actually said, "I am going to direct it." But they allowed the possibility to float out there, and a lot of people thought that maybe he would. I thought there was a decent chance that if this movie happens, that Tarantino could himself do it for the exact reason you just brought up in your email. He'd never done anything like this. He's never done anything like this. And that's a big reason why I thought, man, this would actually be a pretty cool thing for Quentin Tarantino to do. It would be very interesting, I think, for him. I think it'd be very interesting for Star Trek, all that kind of stuff. However, that said, Rob, it seems like Tarantino has now put the brakes on all of that speculation, as Tarantino himself is now basically saying that, it's not going to be him. He said, I'll help out and I'll get involved, but it's not going to be me. This is what he says specifically. I think they might make that movie. Like, he's saying that Paramount may still go ahead, even though they're doing the Noah Hawley film right now that is not the Quentin Tarantino idea. But Tarantino's suggesting that they may still make this movie. He says, I think they might make that movie, but I just don't think I'm going to direct it. It's a good idea, says the guy who came up with the idea. It's a good idea. They should definitely do it, and I'll be happy to come in and give them some notes on the first rough cut. So that comes from, again, Quentin Tarantino, highlighting again that, any hopes that a lot of people had that we could see Tarantino do this big sci-fi epic with a Star Trek film, that seems to be dead and gone at this point. Rob, I look at this as a bit of a shame. A bit of a shame on two different fronts. A bit of a shame on the front that, again, I thought this was a great opportunity for Quentin Tarantino to really flex his muscles and show us something that he has never done before. To get out of, as the one person in the email put it, out of his comfort zone of the types of films he likes to do and try something that's a little bit different. And I also thought it could have been something really good for Star Trek. Because clearly, if you bring in Tarantino, we're going to get something in a Star Trek film that we've probably never seen before. And that can be refreshing. It can be disastrous, but it can be refreshing at the same time. So I count myself as one of the people who's a little bit disappointed to hear this news that he won't be doing it. Rob, number one, are you surprised that Tarantino would come out at this point and just kind of put this thing to rest and say, listen, I'm probably not going to direct this? And number two, would you have been somebody who would be curious to see what he would have done?
Well, I mean, one of the things that we've received from Quentin Tarantino his whole career is he does a sort of genre pastiches, or he does riffs on his favorite things. And Star Trek is a very specific thing. And what I would like to see, if Quentin Tarantino was actually going to make a science fiction movie or a Star Trek-esque movie, I would love to see what his take on a science fiction movie is. If he's going to do a Quentin Tarantino Star Trek movie, he would sort of be constrained by the idea of what Star Trek is. I'd rather see him sort of break free of that and give me what is Quentin Tarantino's, what does the Kill Bill version of Star Trek look like? Meaning, you're not making an actual Star Trek movie, but you're doing that version of it. I mean, Quentin Tarantino made a movie like he loved, whether it was Lone Wolf and Cub, whether it was martial arts movies. The Kill Bill films are a pastiche of all of those films that he loved, and it's something new and unique. I don't know if I would want to see a filmmaker like Quentin Tarantino be constrained by Star Trek. I'd love to see him do a science fiction film. I'd love to see what he would do with that, see what his genre influences are. I mean, when he went and made The Hateful Eight was a movie I didn't love when I first saw it, but having watched it again, and especially his redone version that's on Netflix, I've developed a lot more respect for it. But it has a lot to say about what he thinks about the Western genre. And I would like Star Trek to be Star Trek. I don't think Quentin Tarantino would necessarily make a great Star Trek movie. I would like to see a Quentin Tarantino science fiction movie, because I think that would be really, really exciting. Now, that's not to say he would make a bad Star Trek movie, but I don't think making a Star Trek movie would allow Quentin Tarantino to be Quentin Tarantino. So his idea could be good. I could see him shepherding it into existence. But if he's only truly going to make one more movie, I hope that one more movie is the culmination of all the Tarantino-isms we love, and he takes us someplace he's never taken us. I want to see Quentin Tarantino boldly go where he's never gone before. I don't necessarily think that means he should do a Star Trek movie.
But neither you or I think his next film is actually going to be his last film. Like, I don't think either you or I really believe that.
No, I don't
think
so
he
either.
believes that. I think he believes that right now, but I don't believe for a second that whatever his next film is actually going to be his last film.
Filmmakers got to make movies, John. They got to make movies.
He's a creative force of nature. I think he may think he wants to retire, but he'll get back into it. Question here, guys, for you is, how do you feel about Quentin Tarantino seemingly closing the door on the idea of him doing a Star Trek film? Do you think, you know what, just as well, I want to see him do another a true Tarantino film if it's going to be his last? Or are you like some other people, it's like, man, it would have been so cool to see what he would have done with a film like that? How are you feeling about it? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.